So today we are talking about FC25 career mode once again. We're going over the things you may not know about the mode. If you haven't been paying attention, or if you haven't read the deep dives, if you haven't been watching all my videos, and you just know the basics about career mode this year, you'll know that the main features are going to be live star points, women's manager career, FCIQ, player career with icons. Now those are the headline new features, but there's also little details that we need to go over as well, little features as well. And like I said earlier, depending on how much you've been keeping up with the latest news, you might know everything I'm going to talk about in this video. But if you haven't, I hope this video helps you out. FC25 is coming out very soon. Make sure you subscribe now because there's a lot of videos still to come. Let's start with live star points. This is the feature where you can basically start at any week of the season and it's going to load up the current tables, the current stats, and the goals and the standings and all that kind of stuff for the competition at that time. What you may not know about with live star points is that it only works with limited leagues and competitions in the game. EA has confirmed that on the men's side you can take control of teams in the Premier League, EFL Championship, La Liga, Esports, League One, McDonald's, Serie A, and Bundesliga. And in women's football you can play as teams from the Barclays Women's Super League, the French League, the German League, and the Spanish League. In all, we have live star points for 10 leagues and 12 cup competitions. So only 10 leagues and 12 cup competitions. That does not sound like much. If you want to play in the Australian A-League, for example, when this feature comes out, you won't be able to use it. If you want to play in the Saudi League, this feature won't work. If you want to play in the Bundesliga too, this feature won't work. So yeah, it's not going to be really useful for those people that play outside of these competitions or leagues. And another thing you need to know about live star points is that it's not going to be in the game straight away. It's going to be coming out later in 2024. This could be November, December. EA has said that live star points and snapshots will be coming later in 2024, and you can keep checking in through the season for new snapshots and game weeks right up to the end of the season. Stay tuned for an announcement soon on when this is coming. So we all know that FCIQ is coming to the game, including career mode. This is the system that's going to bring in player roles, fluid formations, and other tactics. The introduction of FCIQ now affects the coaching staff in career mode. EA said that the introduction of player roles helps give new meaning to coaching staff on top of what they were already doing, which is increasing attributes. Staff now also possess the ability to raise the role familiarity of players that are set to the key roles on the pitch by one level. For this to happen, the coach's tactical knowledge must be higher than the natural role rating of said player, and the player must be able to play the position in the first place. So the coaches will be able to increase the role familiarity of your players. The introduction of player roles also affects the squad hub and transfer hub because now they've been updated to surface role information on players. So in this example you can see Foden's roles for different positions and also the pluses. Player roles also affects the scouting now. You can now look for players with specific roles and/or fit for specific presets. So you can see the tile there, it says key roles. You can choose manually and scout players with those roles. Player roles also affects development plans. Each role is going to have its own development plan that focuses on a set of attributes and abilities. The role rating of each player determines the potential of key attributes for that role. Over time, if a player is growing consistently on the attributes that are key to a role, there's a chance to trigger a role rating level up. When that happens, it increases the potential of those attributes, unlocking a new stage of growth. So you can see in this example with Bellingham, you can get 1+, and then there's like an arrow there as well, which suggests that he could level up in the role rating. And while we're here, the development plans are now going to surface useful contextual information such as factors that influence growth or development stage each player is in. So you can see things like growth, peak, or retiring. For this example with Bellingham, you can see his stage is growth, letting you know that this guy still hasn't reached his peak. He can still grow to a higher overall. But obviously if you have a 35-year-old, it might say retiring. If you have a 31-year-old, it might say peak. That's going to be useful as well because now you know which players to get rid of because they're not going to grow anymore and which players still have room to grow. Next up, we're just going to speak briefly about morale because now it is possible to make a player too happy in career mode. EA says that in FC25, they are evolving the morale system from an approach of the more, the better to a sweet spot system. That means that if players' morale gets over a certain level, players are no longer very happy, they become complacent instead. In this state, their mental attributes are reduced instead of increased. The sweet spot is going to vary for each player, so some players will be more calm and professional than others. So I guess that's going to be interesting. This player has a very happy morale at the moment, and I guess the last remaining gap there is the complacent morale. You might not know about this, but press conferences are getting improved in FC25 career mode. EA said that they've revised press conferences so that questions asked by the press are now fueled by tactical choices, opponent setup, and match statistics. Let's take a look at an example here. The traditional number 9 role has evolved considerably in modern football compared to just a decade or two ago. In that regard, what are you looking for in Shaw? So you can choose to humble the player, celebrate the form, downplay Shaw's performance, or encourage Shaw. It still has that icon in the middle that lets you know if it's a good response or a bad response. But the manager replies and says, in Shaw, I see a player that can leave her mark on modern football. She brings a versatile skill set from goal scoring to playmaking. Not many like her. Here are some things you may not know about the Youth Academy in FC25 career mode. First off, in the manager career, it's going to have its own tab, so it's easy to find. But when you want to go and scout some countries, you now have over 160 countries to go and explore. Countries like the Solomon Islands, Fiji, Vanuatu, just to name a few there. You can now scout up to 4 specific positions, allowing you to focus on areas that need reinforcement now or in the future. And you can also scout for 3 distinct roles within the selected positions. Because they've introduced Rush into career mode this year, there's now going to be a Rush tournament where you can have 5 of your youth players as a team versing other clubs' youth teams in a bi-monthly tournament. You can see here that you can play a match against Liverpool. I think the matches are played on a training pitch, and after the match, you'll see the man of the match and some other ratings. The goalkeeper cannot be controlled though, that is an AI goalkeeper. And you also have the flexibility to play with these youth players using their current overall or by using their full potential rating to see how they might perform in the future. If you win the bi-monthly tournaments, you can significantly increase the development of your youth players, accelerating their growth and helping them reach their full potential faster. A good feature this year as well is that the youth players are now going to actually look younger, and you'll be able to see them physically grow during their development in the youth academy. So the players might grow in height, maybe even weight as well. I would like to see them grow a beard, maybe change their hairstyles as well. Imagine if over time some of them got tattoos. We'll see how this feature plays out, but it sounds good on paper. This year, women's football is coming to career mode. We all know that already. It's going to be manager career and also player career. There might be a few things you may not know about this feature though. So obviously with the women's football, it's only going to be available with selected leagues. There's only 5 licensed women's leagues in the game, but alongside the leagues, there's also going to be the Women's Champions League competition in career mode as well. So that's going to be good for those people that want to win that tournament. You'll be able to play against the other European teams in the Women's Champions League. You might think that the women's career mode and the men's career mode would be separate in the game, but they're actually not. You'll be able to move between the men's and women's leagues within the same career mode to experience both sides of the game. So you might be managing the Manchester United male team, and then you might get a job offer from the Chelsea women's team. You'll be able to do the switch, and then you can always go back to the male side at any time. You can also start in the women's side and then move to the men's side as well. So I do like that seamless integration. I thought it would be a separate thing. Now there's going to be no missing features for the women's career modes as well. You'll see all the manager career mode features you would expect, alongside authentic managers, financial models, contracts, and wage structures. And like I said earlier, it's going to be in player career mode as well. So you can start a player career in women's football, similarly to manager career mode. Player activities, authentic contract lengths, salary values, and our event system look to mimic the challenges of the real world game. I hope you did enjoy the video. If you did, make sure you leave a like and remember to subscribe, and hit the thumbnail in the middle to watch another FC25 video.